Hi, and welcome back to Mistworld. My name's Daniel. I am the storyteller.
Hi, everyone. I am Astrakhan Zell. I am a gnomish... Well, I'm not really an alchemist. I just pretend to be an alchemist sometimes. I'm really a golemancer, followed around by a spider golem.
Hi, team. Lockie back and still playing Henry Goodbarrel. He survived the first episode. He's the halfling who's keen on embroidery.
The adorable halfling hero who's keen on embroidery.
Yeah. Everyone's second favorite character.
I'm Mr. Whitber. I play a goblin, just deckhand, I guess. Bit of everything.
That's my cue, I think. So yeah. I'm Millie Druitt, she, they. I'm hunter of the sky, pilot extraordinaire, and sometime user of trivial magics.
And thank you so much for coming back for our second episode. Now, just wanted to give our intrepid golemancer a quick plug. They've got a Kickstarter at the moment, so take it away, Astrakhan.
All right. So I've been working on this world, which is the campaign setting the Kickstarter's for probably for 4 or 5 years on and off. It's an alternate history Earth set at the beginning of the Industrial Revolution, but with magic. So we have technomancers, which is a subclass that I'm creating for the campaign setting, mad science and magic, making things like airships and ghost looms where there's a ghost tethered to the machinery to start running it in place of steam. We've got ancient relics left over from a fallen elvish civilization, which the humans know as Atlantis, because we all know that European humans tend to rename things. The elves call it Lemuria. We've got subterranean ghost elves with submarines going through underground rivers and flooded cave systems. We've got city-states with wilderness and bandits in between. We've got dragons as a playable species on the Western Isles, which is where the UK would be in this world. And just a little dash of eldritch horror, Cthulhian entities outside the universe clawing at the edges to get in, cultists trying to let them. I created the world for my regular role-playing group, and it kind of got a bit out of control after I just made the initial city to run a game in. So I thought I'd put it together, put all the notes together, add some artwork, and publish it so other people could play in the world. So now I have a Kickstarter. We will put the link in the notes or the description for the episode, but for those who'd like to have a look at it, it's www.kickstarter.com/projects/Draconum, which is DRACONUM, /Yath-campaign-setting-4-5E-and-Pathfinder, and I should have made a better URL than that, but I didn't. So check it out, and if you like it, please support. It'll be really great to see it come to fruition and actually be a physical book.
Judging by the URL, is it 5e and Pathfinder compatible?
It is Pathfinder 1 and Pathfinder 2. So they're going to be 3 sets of mechanics for all of the things.
I'm personally looking forward to hammering my next 5e DM to letting me be an actual bloody dragon in the next game.
Yeah. I've actually run a game in this world with people playing dragons, and they all keep harassing me to restart the game, but they don't all have time on the same day of the week, ever. So I've got some pre-made characters that I might put in.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you so much for sharing that.
Yeah, thanks for listening.
Back to our world of Mistworld. So you guys are currently in a town known as Delonde, the city of the labyrinth. It's coming up at about 5 a.m. at the moment. You guys are currently asleep. There's 2 groups of people moving around in the streets, for anyone who care to look out. The first are a small group of refugees, people who were trying to make it to the capital city of Bastion, but unfortunately have run out of funds due to lack of seats, higher prices, as we were starting to see at our last game. So now they're in doorways, looking for any kind of work that can get them that extra little bit closer to where they want to go. The second is a group of miners, but but perhaps unusually by our description of miners, they are wearing these masks that resemble plague doctor masks. They've got very long noses, and if you come close to them, they give off this sour odor. You can see scarring.
That's because the labyrinth has got the poison gas.
That's
I
exactly
remember
right.
this. Yeah.
So the reason why these guys are miners and they go down is they're trying to find a path through and down to the planet's surface. And you can, if you get close enough to them, you see there's got scar tissue creeping up from the mast from the times where they were able to get away from the poison quick enough to survive, but not quick enough to remain unscathed.
We're not talking about miners as in small people.
They're definitely people are under 18 is what we established.
Well, to be fair, there are some races that are small, so they may appear to be both.
Now, we would know that this scarring that appears is a common side effect of just touching the mist. Is that right?
Pretty much. So it's kind of common knowledge. It's not very often seen, but these people are almost professionals in the way they skirt the mist by trying to go underground and around it. So far, none of them have been able to find a way down, but that doesn't. They consider this a path to salvation. They consider this a way to get down on the planet's surface and potentially have that space back.
Nice. I think at this point, Henry Goodbarrel might be sitting in the open back of the ship with Mr. Whitbeer, looking out, and he points over and says, "Do you think they'll be okay? I mean, it's a dangerous job, and we get the air and they get the ground. It doesn't seem very fair."
Oh, I'm sure they'll be fine. They've obviously been doing it for a long while, and if they don't make it, then sure we could find their stuff.
Not everyone's made for the air, Henry. And from the way Neely looks at Henry when she says it, there's some suggestion that he might be.
Yeah, he sheepishly looks down at his, shoes that are embroidered and just says, "Yeah, I mean, but maybe people can learn. That's something. I mean, if they try really hard."
No, I don't think I've ever seen anyone learn how to be in the air properly. You're bored with it, or you're not. You're bored with the spirit of adventure, or you're not. Just
like you, Henry.
Why are you people all awake already? It's not even morning. What are you doing?
Mr. Whitbeer insisted that he wanted to watch me watch my watch. And I thought, well, okay, I could do with the company. And then Neely came out because I was showing him how loud I could scream. And she said something along the lines of, "What the hell are you doing? It's 4 a.m. in the morning." And now you've woken up at 5 with a similar attitude. I think is that right, Neely, Mr. Whipper? Is that what's covered you?
Well, you did bring all the good blankets as well, and Neely pulls like the beautifully crocheted rug over everyone's knees. Come and join us, Astrakhan. I think it's quite beautiful, like the sun touching the mist. It's a beautiful sight that we don't often always see.
But I can see it any day. Like you could come and sit and watch the show with me. Darling is just going to play it for me later when I'm properly awake after like coffee or something.
Actually, can Darling dispense coffee?
She used to dispense coffee until there was the incident with the soda water. But now soda water and coffee, you don't want bubbly coffee is what I'm saying. We can't do both.
I mean, if you're interested, I could make some coffee. I'm pretty good at making things. Let me, Astrakhan, you can have my spot. And he jumps up quickly and goes into the kitchen. Anyone? Sugars, milk? We have oat and almond and mousse and fat-free. And I think that's it. Unless anyone
there should be some rat milk in there as well.
Do you have any squid milk?
I'll check. He goes.
There is, in fact, a little black container marked squid milk. It's basically ink.
I got Squilk. Yeah, is this what you mean? There's a Skerrick left. One of you can have Squilk.
I'll just have mousse. It's fine. Mousse is good.
Okay. And
I
then
really hope that's high in protein.
Henry starts going and whipping up the coffee while leaving the other three on the back of the ship.
So Neely looks at
Shiny beetle.
Mr. Whitber. Miss Neely looks at Mr. Whitber and kind of motions with her head toward the kitchen nook where Henry is, and then what about is now? Mr. Whipper obviously can read my mind because we've worked together for so many years and knows that I'm talking about the shield that we have yet to present to Henry.
No. Mr. Whitber will motion cutting motion his neck. Don't worry about it. No, not yet. We'll make him go out with the trash can again. After he's done that, we'll be like, oh.
No, that's too mean.
Mr. Whipper.
Okay.
We didn't bring the trash can lid with us.
I've got. Yeah. I'm making sure it's not very far away from it at any time.
To be fair, there's always rubbish bins around, so
We'll just steal the lids all the way along our path.
I put extra lids in his clothing as well, under his bedding.
No.
It's become a regular ritual over the past days of traveling where you have a moment and he throws it out the window. It's, I never want to see you again. And then there's another trash can lid waiting when he wakes up. How do you keep coming back?
Opens the cupboard to get the Squilk and the lid falls out.
You hear it clanging to the ground. That was nothing.
You know we don't worry until you say something like that.
You hear the sound of a trash can lid being shoved into a low cupboard. It's fine. I almost dropped the Squilk.
So, you guys were watching are those miners in the masks?
Yeah, but adults. Most
Yeah,
of them,
adult miners. I
believe there was some.
got that, Mr. Whitber.
Should I start using the term cave worker just to truly differentiate the two?
We need to establish that these are miners.
There's miners as well, just not in this group.
Okay.
They're better because
want to make sure there's no child slavery occurring here in the town.
There is
Do you
none.
suppose there's a reason that they're wandering around this early in the morning? I mean, did they need to start early for some reason? Does it affect the mist?
You can give me a 2d6 roll to see what you know, because this isn't kind of common knowledge.
All right, I shall give that a shot. That's a 4, so I'm guessing I don't really know.
No, so you suspect it might have something to do with the mist, but it's not something that would affect your ship, so you're not sure.
Okay. I mean, do you know, Neely? Are there tides or something?
The currents and eddies of the mist are a mystery, even to those of us who ride above them. You would know that, Astrakhan. I have seen in recent times some changes, but maybe that's just a bit of rumor and myth.
Ooh, maybe they'll know. I'm going to jump up in my half asleep and mostly uncoordinated way and run over to the nearest group of miners and have a chat to them. I'm just super enthusiastic, so hopefully they don't think I'm aggressive.
Are you still wearing your jammies?
Yep.
So that's not super aggressive.
So I was gonna absolutely just assume that you were still in your jammies. So they kind of obviously give you a side eye as you come up. They're kind of talking amongst themselves and drinking their own Squilk caffeine drinks. They're kind of looking and say, well, it's our opinion that the mist doesn't like the sun, and we try and get started as soon as the sun rises outside. Because we believe that it tends to burn back and leave some room down, and the mist leaves the caves to try and fill what's been burnt outside. It's hard to tell. It changes, and different spaces open up underground all the time. But we try and get as much of daytime as we can to try and get as deep as we can before nighttime returns.
Fascinating. Has it changed recently at all? Or has it always been much the same like that?
At this point, like the one who sounds like the eldest kind of pushes the other two away and says, "It's hungrier. It's trying to eat us all." And the other's kind of like, "It's okay, Bob. It's not a living thing. It's not gonna try and take us." And they're kind of like this old human. They're just kind of like patting him down. "Don't worry about Bob. He's been at it for a bit longer, and we feel the mist is starting to touch his mind." But he started to talk as though it's some kind of living creature.
Is that a common side effect in your elders? Does it touch the mind over time with repeated exposure?
To be honest, not many of us live long enough to become elders. Not just you don't have just the normal. You don't just have the normal cave dangers of cave-ins and dead ends. You've got potentially getting cut off by the mist returning and drifting and not being able to get out.
Yeah, that does sound bad. All right. Well, thank you so much. Have a great morning.
You too, and it gives you a little hat tip. Kind of looks back. They're clearly kind of like, what was with that? as you leave.
I'm going to jog back to the ship. Like, so Neely, the mist doesn't like the sun, and it might be alive. We should. I wonder if I can get a sample and test it. I could probably find out.
The mist can burn the skin. Those sailors who have been unlucky enough to venture close to it often have horrific scarring.
Yes, but it can also get to the mind. The old guy was like it's trying to eat us. Like it had intention of its own, which either means that it's doing something really funky in his brain, or, and hear me out here, the mist is a world-spanning living monster that's trying to eat us all, which, from my perspective, that's equally likely.
Yeah, Neely sort of looks off to Mr. Whitburn and rolls her eyes a little bit. I think you should go and draw some plans, Astrakhan, for what sort of device might help you scoop some mist.
Yeah, we would need like a special kind of bucket.
Excellent idea.
Maybe we could dangle it off the edge and scoop up the mist as we go past.
I'm absolutely going to go do that. I'm going to stop on my way for my coffee and start making plans for a mist scooper.
If you work out how to scoop it up, you could bottle it and we throw it at people.
Henry hands you the coffee to Astrakhan as she runs past eagerly, and then here's the end of this conversation, thinking they're completely serious. And his only thought is, maybe I'm not made for the skies.
I'm fairly sure at least one of them is serious.
Is it me? It might be me.
Can we say that Henry does the most amazing latte art? There's a beautiful sky squid on top of my Squilk cappuccino or something.
The high arts learnt at the posh houses.
I stuffed up one of the eyes. I'd make it again normally, but like I said, we're out of Squilk, so sorry.
Don't worry, just live with your mistakes.
I kick Mr. Whipper under the crocheted rope.
He'll hand out the coffees and sit there and snuggle in with his hot chocolate that he's made for himself, and look up at either Mr. Whipper or Neely and just so did Astrakhan find out if they were minors or minors?
Yeah, they're minors, but adult minors.
I'm never saying the M word ever again.
Be very careful when you say the M word. Really phonetically pronounce the letter M.
Now, you guys are on your own timetable if there is something you wanted to do in town before lifting off.
I don't think so. Not on Henry's part. We would have been here for a few days, or if we just stopped in as the same night that we have previously. How's this?
At this point, it's the same night. Next morning. So it's up to you if you guys want to take a moment to make some purchases, get some particular gear. You got a little bit of cash from your mail drops. So if there's something little that you're looking for, they'll probably have it here.
I think Henry would want to stock up on just ingredients, get some more Squilk, and do the basic collection of things that he's going to cook for everyone for the next coming days. Other than that, I think he's okay.
Or yarn for your crocheting.
He's got plenty of crochet yarn still.
So aside from the Squilk, the other main kind of export of this place is eggs. In fact, at this point in morning, you
Squid
start
eggs?
for the chickens.
Eggs?
No. Chicken eggs.
Jegs.
I refuse. No.
So they have a lot of chickens?
At this point, you start hearing a whole bunch of clucking in the background as some of the chickens start letting people know that they've just laid some eggs, as they are wont to do. There's also a fair amount of goats in the area as well, if you guys want to pick up any kind of goat milk to take away as well, or goat meat. It works well for curries. Whatever you feel like.
Does it go well crumbed?
I'm not sure, to be honest.
I think it's not so good. I think it's better slow cooked. Can we say that the chickens are fed entirely on a diet of squid, and so their eggs are quite squiggy?
Black eggs.
Given that chickens are technically omnivores, I will allow that some of them hatch black eggs.
Nice.
As a result of the ink transfer.
Nice.
Okay.
Henry will make a large collection of eggs and actual chicken. I don't think he's going to go with the goat this time. I think he's in the mood for chicken and eggs. So he wants to kind of marinate the chicken in its own fetuses.
Excellent.
That's how he words it up to everyone to make sure that they know it's tender.
So comfortable with that.
Good.
Maybe some goat's cheese to stick inside the chicken that's marinated.
Don't be weird.
I can't actually help it. It's what I do.
So Neely helps Henry with his purchases, walks along. I think she's aware that Henry's maybe not being made to feel like the most useful member of the crew, especially inadvertently by her. But at a certain point, there's like potentially a notice board outside the post office, and she puts a note on the notice board with just a strange symbol on it, an N, a D, and another symbol, a pictograph, and then just leaves it there.
Excellent.
Does Henry notice her do this? Or is she doing it subtly?
So. I think she was
I don't think you're trying to hide it, yeah.
Yeah.
I think at that point, Henry will look up with his armful of eggs and go, oh, what's that?
That's the symbol of my old ship, the Amphitrite.
Oh, and what are you trying to achieve by putting that there? Are you trying to find it, maybe?
Yeah, sometimes things are lost and we need to work hard to find them, Henry.
Yeah, I know that feeling.
I think I once knew a boy, not much, a little bit younger than you, and maybe I'd like to find him again.
Well, I hope your symbols, and he looks up at the board, do that for you. Yeah.
Thank you. Now, let me carry those squigs.
Okay, but be careful. They're really slippery. It doesn't make any sense as to why anyone would eat these.
Great.
We'll continue back to the ship, I guess.
We picked up some mail to take as well. Did we last session?
You loaded it up last night, but yes.
Yep.
Great.
All right, so you take off. You start heading off in the appropriate direction. I won't make you roll for directions this time, but at some point during your journey, Neely, as you're flying over, you notice that there's like almost like a cup. There's like a divot in the mist, and it just happens to be over what looks like some form of ruin that's normally covered by the mist, but it's been revealed, and potentially could be a location that you could sit down at. Normally these places are pretty untouched.
Have I seen these sort of hollows in the mist previously?
It's kind of like a cloud formation, but like in reverse. So the winds kind of push the wind away for a little bit. They tend to be temporary, so there is potential that you might need to GTFO quite quickly if it starts to close up. However, like I said, it's potentially also got a source of some form of treasure hunting if you choose to make that stop.
Is Astrakhan on deck?
Absolutely staring fixedly at the ruin with this eager, glittering eyes.
So I like point away from the ruin. What in the world is that? But I don't think it's successful in distracting you.
I'm not going to even bother making any rolls on that one. No.
It's I've worked with you too long, Neely. I know what you're trying to do. But do you see what I see down here? Do you see the potential for things that no one has ever seen before?
I see
a potential for a quick death. Now let's keep going. Harry, do you have in your crocheted goods there some crocheted blindfolds or something you can put over Astrakhan's eyes as we get away from this area?
But Henry, you want to be a hero, right?
Yes.
A hero by not dying, buddy.
Heroes face the look of death with bravery. I say, he swallows deeply. We go to the island, and offers up a crisp high five for Astrakhan.
High five. 100%.
There's no force behind Henry's high five.
And Henry, I'm pretty sure that Mr. Whitber had something for you.
I think we did, didn't we, Mr. Whitber?
Yeah, there's I found some more trash can lids.
Oh,
Yes.
thank you. And
no, I
really
kissed the spot on Mr. Whitber's shin, in which by now abuse is developing, because I've had to kick him quite often with regard to his treatment of Henry. Are you going to give it to him, or am I just going to have to find it and give it to him?
Fine.
Henry's getting really nervous at this point that it's another punch in the arm. You know what? If Mr. Whitber doesn't want to give it, I'm okay. I've got plenty of trash cans.
Mr. Whitber is going to go up to the floor of the little ship and open up one of the storage cupboards in there and pull out the beak of the squid and bring it back to Harry. Like, here you go. Like, there's figured we probably took you far enough with the trash cans, and given it's your first kill, made you a little something that you could remember it by, and it should serve you a little bit better than those trash cans.
He looks up at it with absolute awe and takes it with two hands, read the inscription on the back. To Harry. Wow, it's almost got my name on it. Thank you, Mr.
It's really
Whitber.
beautiful. Like the squid beak is like iridescent and nacreous, and it's just like an incredibly beautiful shield.
Oh, it's absolutely iridescent. And I will also add, it has the effect, Mr. Henry, that once per battle, you don't need to roll for your counterattack. It will just connect due to the nature of the beak.
That's amazing. I love it. I will add that to my traits. Thank you.
So Astrakhan, Henry, I reckon we can give you 3 hours if we want to make it to our next destination safely by nightfall. That's all. 3 hours.
Okay.
I steer it down to the little hollow and the ruin.
That's
Sweet.
all we need.
3 hours.
Henry doesn't take his eyes off his reflection in the window. He's just looking at himself and how he can do a cool pose with the shield and see which pose looks the best. It's like, ha, ooh, and that's his actions until he lands.
All right, Mr. Whitman's gonna
Punch him.
climb up the rigging of the boat with the binoculars or telescope that he's got, and just look down at the ruins to try and spot anything that looks particularly interesting that he can call out to everyone else. And while everyone's down there, he's going to stay out there to watch for signs of the mist closing. Being as old as he is, he's well experienced understanding how the mist moves there.
Beautiful. Can you give me a perception roll now, and we'll see how that plays out when it's relevant?
Yes. Yes, I can. 1 second. Sorry. 2. I got a 6 and a 4.
Nice. So you will see trouble when it comes. I'll say as well that your craft, the Shining Beetle, has a megaphone system. So if you do need to get everyone's attention, it should be loud enough, unless something terrible has happened.
Cool. What can I see of the ruins as we head down towards them? I think that's actually interesting. Or that stands out.
Basically it looks like it's a series of compounds. They're square rectangular buildings. There's one that seems to be the main building and probably be the building that nearly lands the craft on top of. It's wide enough to take the shiny beetle on the roof. As you get closer, you realize that this is some form of dwarven architecture. It's quite severe, straight lines all the way through. These tend to be very functional buildings. Normally they wouldn't have built them up on the top of the mountains back before the mist arrived. However, this could have been maybe some staging ground as they evacuated, or it could have been some kind of, they might have been trying to keep it hidden away from other dwarves.
Harry, if you didn't know this is dwarven buildings. So they're miners. They look like miners, but they're actually adults, even though they're miners.
Nearly rolls her eyes again. 3 hours, guys. Let's get moving. Mr. Whitbar, you going to stay here with the craft? It's always a good idea to split the party. Yeah.
No, I'm not going down the ground. As we made clear this morning, my place is in the air up here, and I'm not going to learn any of that ground stuff. Put it in the air, you know.
We'll keep an eye on those mists. They're seldom like this.
I think Henry steps forward with unjustified bravery, being first onto the ramp to be lowered. Worry not, friends. I shall lead the way. And Astrakhan, if you could follow close behind, that would be great.
Not a problem. I'm going to send Darling, my spider bot, out to just have a quick scuffle around and see if there's anything interesting, just like poke a sensor into each of the buildings.
All right. So what they get through is they don't notice anything moving. I'll give you that much without needing you to roll. But if you could give me a perception roll just to make sure of anything else.
Okay. Now, this is my spider, which...
Does your spider have its own stats?
Yeah, it does.
Oh, man, that's so awesome.
It's got its own traits as well. Perceptive. Advantage when testing to gain information about your surroundings. So I get advantage. Excellent.
Correct.
I thought that. I remember my stats for the most part. 6, yay.
Nice.
But I keep forgetting Darling's stats.
Yeah.
So one thing that Darling notices, so it can't get into the main building at all. There's not even any windows to peek through. But what it does find is it finds a small number of crates in one of the side buildings, possibly some form of storeroom. And as it kind of lifts up the lid to see what's inside, there's a small number of gears and chains.
Ooh.
Possibly used by other golemomancers.
These I need to see in person. I'm gonna sort of tug on Henry's sleeve and guide us towards the crates where Darling found them.
I'm following close behind as well. I feel Mr. Whitbar has the ship, and I don't think that Astrakhan
can be trusted alone.
No, well, maybe not with the gleam of gears in your eyes. Yeah.
Yes.
But also still feeling a bit protective of Henry.
Worry not. Henry has a shield. He's invincible now, and he knows it. Onward, he says, leading the way towards this.
With Slayer.
So you guys run to that storeroom. Effectively, Astrakhan, what you find is a small repair kit worth of gears and chains for Darling.
Nice.
Not enough to kind of upgrade them or any way, but if you spend 10 minutes, you better recover 3 HP. Oh, sorry. You better recover 1 HP to it because it only has 1 HP from memory, doesn't it?
Yes.
So you better repair it.
I've got 6 HP.
All right, so I can repair 3.
Cool.
Darling's got twice the amount of HP as your tank. It's fine.
Yes. Darling's actually the one who should be leading the way to any dangerous situation.
I think Henry has 6 HP.
No, 3.
Really? Excellent. Good. I like that.
I only got 4.
All right. Good. Good times. I should adjust that. For some reason, my thing says 4 out of 6 health. So I thought that was because I didn't heal up after my last battle.
I'll double check my information then. But regardless, so you've got this repair kit, Astrakhan.
Excellent.
Most of the other places, most of the other storerooms, they've got the crates are empty. There's broken down benches. There's a few tapestries here and there hanging on the walls, but they're pretty much rags at this point and worthless. Really, the only kind of potential point of interest would be that main compound building that I mentioned earlier.
All right. Let's see if we can find a way into that compound building.
Henry will continue leading the way, jumping around all corners with a ha and a ha, posing every time.
Does it have a door that's just locked, or does it not actually have any entrances?
So as you get closer to the main door and get a chance to inspect it, it does seem to be some form of well, it does seem to be locked. So you try and push, doesn't push, pull, doesn't pull. There's no handles really to try and pull it open. So you suspect that there is some form of puzzle or potentially even a trap.
Well, negotiation, guys. Huddle. I can either ask Darling to just try to pick the lock, because she's really good at this stuff, or I can try to build a completely new device specifically to open the door.
What about a bomb that's faster?
That might set off a trap if there's a trap.
Could stand back? What sort of trap? I'm looking, do we have like ye olde time devices, Dan? Like, or I'm just
basically your time device is a fuse.
Yeah, so I look up at I'm just looking up at the sky to see, and like we've spent a fair bit of time at this point in the ruins, and this device would have to be something you can construct very quickly, Astrakhan.
All right. How about I do both? I'll ask Darling to try to pick the lock while I try to create a device from any of the leftover gears and things from those crates to open the door if she doesn't manage to pick the lock.
Okay. Henry, come and stand over here. I've known that these things can often be trapped.
Henry looks over at the spider and just gives a knowing nod as if you can make soda water, you could do this. And he says to Neely, worry not. If there is an explosion, I shall protect you from it. And then he jumps in front of her with a ha and poses with the shield.
No, like Neely just grabs his arm and physically drags him back.
Ow! Okay, stop, ow!
And then she notices that there's still a bit of calamari on his cheek and wipes it off with her sleeve.
Hey, I was saving that.
Okay, Astrakhan, Darling, you're on.
All right. So Astrakhan, I'll get you to roll 3d6, giving you coming up with a creative solution to a problem, which is a gnomish expertise.
Excellent.
And I'm just going to double check, Darling.
I'll take the evade action.
Good call.
That's a 4 on my creative solution.
That's right. So you're lagging behind, but your spider golem is nimble fingered, which means that they've got advantage to try and work out what's going on with this door.
Okay. 5 and a 6.
Nice. So you're just starting to kind of push the gunpowder inside this bomb, but what you do notice from Darling is they've gone into the bottom left corner of the door. They've managed to find the hinges and unscrew the hinges enough that
that's
sticking its legs under to be able to make the door drop.
I love you, Darling. You're such a good spider.
All right. What you see beyond, it's a corridor. It's wide enough for you guys to go 2 by 2. So could I get a marching order? Who's going to be the first 2 through the door?
Is it dark in there?
pitch black. There's no light at all. All you can make out is this tunnel.
I think Henry will say, Neely, I got something for this. Hold this. And he hands her the shield and runs back to the ship. Mr. Whipper, and then grabs his torch and, flint and steel and starts trying to light it on the way over really clumsily because you need 2 hands to light it.
Why not? You're going to hurt yourself.
And runs back with the torch. So he'll have a torch in one hand and his shield in the other. I'll take that back. Thanks, Neely. And allow me. I shall lead the way into this dark, unknown cavern as reality sets in. And
I'm right behind you, Henry.
Thanks. All right.
So,
here we go.
So Henry, you go through the door. Is Darling by his side or Darling's hanging back?
I think Darling's probably by his side or at knee level by his side.
Excellent. So Henry and Darling, you pass through the doorway. There was no trap. You guys pass through. No problems at all. Astrakhan, you follow shortly after, I assume?
Yep.
Excellent. Neely,
Yeah.
you're the only one who's taller than a dwarf.
Oh my. I'm quite tall.
So if you could give me a 2d6 roll as you try to avoid the trap that was meant for anybody taller than dwarves.
Oh, I did not avoid that trap. 2 and a 4.
Sorry, Neely. I didn't think to look up.
Is this a situation where my defender trait could act?
Unfortunately not, because it's not really an attack.
Yep,
But instead, what happens, Neely, is you basically walk straight onto this razor sharp, very thin wire that was set at about shoulder height, and you lose 1 HP.
Youch.
Oof. Ouch.
Henry freaks out. What happened? What? Oh my God, you're bleeding.
No, I think Neely takes it without very much noise, and Henry, who's a few meters in front, wouldn't really have known what went on.
Strike everything I just said. I was preparing for the worst.
Neely doesn't want to spook the halflings, so they're taking it in their stride.
Very understandable.
Henry turns to the spider. It's actually safer than I thought it would be.
Tick, tick, tick. It says by tapping its feet on the ground.
Good one. What did she say, Astrakhan?
She said you're right. I have no idea what the conversation is. I wasn't paying attention.
Yeah. So you guys continue on. Eventually, you come across doors on the left and right, obviously to rooms within this compound. Which way do you guys want to go? Oh, straight ahead. So which way do you guys want to go?
Henry would suggest turning to the left and checking that area. I just think that if we're continuing on, we should always make sure that nothing's going to come up behind us. So let's do the left and then the right, and then we'll continue on, assuming these are just rooms. Is that okay with everyone?
Yes, I think that's logical.
You nearly will make a mark on the walls, in the dusty walls, with like her machete, their machete, so that it's clear which way they've come.
Henry looks back at the mark and thinks, she's probably not going to find that younger boy here. Weird place to put a mark.
Maybe they were a dwarf.
Then continues into the room on the left.
Excellent. Same marching order? He asks for no reason?
Yep.
Very well. So you guys...
We don't check for traps because Neely was so quiet.
Neely is being very careful. I think Astrakhan, you noticed. I just didn't want Henry to know. And I am walking like in a stooped fashion and being very careful with the new holes in my amazing leather jacket.
Very well. So you guys enter this room. There's no getting around this, Astrakhan. This is some form of laboratory. So what you see is there seems to be 4 large pillars going from floor to ceiling, kind of irregularly spaced around the wall. You see in the middle of the room a very large table with what are clearly some form of Golomancer ends and bits and bobs. You see that there's some form of filing system close by as well. and you can see that there's multiple sconces for some form of powered light to be turned on, and there is a switch on the left hand to the left of the door.
I try to resist the temptation. I do try, but I fail. I flip the switch on the wall.
Very well. Very, very dim electric light starts buzzing through the room. You no longer need a torch to see. You can quite clearly see everything in this room. There's nothing kind of waiting in the shadows at all. You guys are welcome to enter, Lelouch.
Henry walks in, checking all the corners and making sure that there's nothing clinging to the roof that could leap down on him. He wants to make sure this place is safe.
There's nothing in the roof. There's nothing in the corners.
Nearly waits in the doorway just in case anything were to come from behind them.
Smart move. Do you guys approach that table?
Absolutely. Specifically the filing cabinet, in fact. Information first.
Henry will walk around and check all the corners of the room.
All right. Nothing in the corners, but as you reach for the information held in the filing cabinet, those 4 pillars, a side of each of them drops open, and 4 human-sized golems come out as some form of security defense system that would not affected by the mist. And I'll get you 3 to roll initiative.
Oh God, no!
How is that 2d6, Dan? So
yeah, 2d6. Add your totals, and if you could send them to me via the chat, so help me track who rolled what.
Okay.
Solid 3. Doing well, team.
6, yeah. Good job, Henry.
Doing a 1.
9.
So the initiative is 6, 3, and 9. Normally that should mean that there's a chance I'd even go forth. I got 2 1s, so you guys are all going to act before the golems do. Somehow, despite the fact that they should have had the drop on you, they did not. So Astrakhan, you go first. So you see you hear this danger as the walls fall away, and these creatures attack.
Out of curiosity, in the tiny dungeon we're playing, is it all enemies have the same initiative? Is that a rule, or is that your choice?
I'm going to call it a Dan choice for simplification of combat.
Yeah, makes sense.
All right. Aggressive-looking golems in a laboratory which contains nothing except potentially interesting information and some bits and pieces on the table.
They're all armed as well with swords.
Retreat! I am going to go back to the doorway where Neely is. And did this room have a door at all? It didn't have a door, did it?
Well, it had the door that you guys came in from. As given that you're right next to the table, you can try and grab something from the table as you go past. You can spend an action just to yoink the biggest thing.
Yeah, I yoink the most interesting looking thing from the table, and then I retreat back to the doorway, especially because my only combat abilities are ranged. I mean, I could try stabbing somebody with a throwing knife, but I don't think that works too well on golems.
Unfortunately not. So that's your turn in that case. Coming up next is Astrakhan and Neely, you're up.
Yeah, so I shout, Henry, we're out of here. And then I step forward to cover his retreat. And then perhaps I place my hand maybe get within like a very close distance from the nearest golem and summon the magic in my hands to like agitate the electrons in the air and send like an electric shock through to the closest golem.
Go for it.
How many do I roll? 3 if it's...
It's 2d6 for magic for your magic attacks.
Okay, a 5 and a 1. 5 is successful, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So you reach through and connect through electricity. These things are basically clockwork. So it's not quite, so while it does certainly damage it, it doesn't overload them or anything like that. But the closest one does take 1 damage. Henry, what would you like to do?
Hearing Neely's order, he will run back to the doorway and stand in front of Astrakhan and then take the evade action, readying himself to block anything that might come in from these golems that could affect these two crewmates. I got this, guys. I got this.
So on their turn, there are 4 of them. 2 of them head straight to that filing cabinet and start wailing on it. You see sparks and lightning kind of shoot out from this filing cabinet before they smash it to bits. The other 2 are going to close on you guys as the actual intruders. Henry, they're going to attack twice each. Once each. So total of 2.
Great.
They really suck at their jobs as guards, and neither of them managed to even try and connect with you, Henry.
Lovely. I think I can use my opportunist. Can I use my squid shield to actively automatically counter?
Yeah. So you can automatically counter with 1, and the other one you'll need to roll for.
Excellent. Let's do it. I rolled a 6 and a 5. I love it.
Nice. So one of them. So you managed to hit one of the ones that was hit by the lightning, and the other one as well. So you kind of both times
just bashing them with the torch that he's got in his hand.
Yeah.
Take that and that.
It's surprisingly effective. Now, back around to the top. Neely, you're up.
I think Astrakhan first.
Oh, sorry, Astrakhan. Apologies.
Yeah, that's all right. In the meantime, while I'm standing behind Neely and Henry safely in the doorway, I've been constructing a little, it's kind of a clockwork adaptation of a throwing knife that hopefully I can toss into the gears of one of these golem things and get it stuck in the joints to actually make the whole golem seize up. So
all right, I'm going to call this an attack with disadvantage, but it will effectively paralyze one if it's successful.
Okay. So I'm not sure if that uses my throwing knives or my magic. It's kind of halfway in between.
Yeah, I'll call it a spell touched attack. Okay. But yeah, just due to the effect, basically it's going to have a large effect, so it'll stop them from being able to move further.
Yep. So disadvantage means I roll only 1 die?
Correct.
Yep. Okay. 5.
Yes.
Right. Yep. So I should have clarified this earlier, but are you going for the ones that are menacing Henry or for one of the ones that are attacking that filing cabinet?
There are 4 of them, right?
In total.
Yep. Henry seems to have the ones in front of him under control. I'll aim for one of the ones that's attacking the filing cabinet, because that just seems really odd to me.
All right, so one of them, so you managed to get it in. It's still like attacking, its arms are still working, but its legs are no longer working, so it kind of falls over, but continues with its mission to destroy whatever's inside that cabinet.
Okay.
Neely, you still got another action if you'd like to take it.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna try to electrocute the other one that's attacking the filing cabinet. Just like
Excellent.
Toss lightning at it.
Roll
that hasn't worked well for me before, but there's always a first time.
I like the idea is effectively you throwing batteries.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, take that.
Here's a 9-volter.
6.
6, nice. So one of them, I'm going to assume this is the one that was already hit by electricity from Neely. It's on its last legs, but you definitely connect with it as you throw double A's at it.
Here's something I prepared earlier.
Neely, you're up.
Okay, so I think my machete won't have much impact on. They're made of metal, right?
I mean, it would still attack as you go for it, but right now the bigger problem more is that Henry's effectively in the doorway, standing between you and them.
Yeah. Okay, so I might try another spell. I'm going to try and freeze one of the ones that's attacking Henry.
Go for it.
Okay.
How many dice was that?
2, not successful, sadly. A 3 and a 2, so...
So just to be clear, a maximum of 3 dice at any time? It did sound
2 dice. It was 2 dice.
It just sounded like there was 20.
No, they just rolled really far across the table. They were all failures in any case, so that's fine.
So that one falls short, but you still have a second action.
Okay, yeah, so I'm going to try it again. I'm going to concentrate a little bit harder, get the feeling of cold, and run it through the air into its joints. A 6 and a 2.
Nice. So you freeze up the one that's more heavily damaged, and it kind of locks up and then just topples over sideways. There's still one menacing Henry. The other 2 are still wailing on that filing cabinet.
Wow. I really want to know what's in there.
Thank you, Neely. He leaps up and looks at his newly frosted tips. And I believe it's his turn, yeah?
Yes, absolutely.
All right. I will use my first action to wail upon this remaining golem with the torch. A 6 and a 2. Doing well. Henry.
Yeah. So you've got... what's your main weapon again?
Currently, it's usually a short sword, but he's currently wielding a torch because
Excellent.
I needed light.
Fair enough. So you smack it with the torch, and you manage to melt away part of the clockworks, keeping its left arm on, and it kind of starts jittering with that particular arm.
Excellent. And I will use my second action to evade.
Good call. So with the 2 that are wailing on the filing cabinet, if they finish, they take one last smack. One of them walks over to Henry, so there's once again 2 with him. The other one tries to move but does not, and so it, realizing the problem, it tries to free itself. It manages to remove the part that was keeping it paralyzed, the little throwing knife part, but has already used its action to try and move before that. The one that's on top of Henry tries to attack, misses. Henry, you've got another free swing at it.
I will use my free attack, swing at it. Double 6. Is that a crit?
You finish it off.
Yeah, take that. Henry, he 100% believes that this is the shield doing all the work. It's imbued with powers of unknown strength.
Excellent. That's their turn. So right back around to the start. Astrakhan, you've got one on top of Henry. You've got one that's about to start running over and hitting him.
And there are only the 2 left?
In this room.
Right. Yeah, in this room.
He said menacingly.
Hopefully these 4 waking up hasn't woken up any others in the rest of the compound, she said, regretting already suggesting that might have happened. All right. Well, those batteries worked pretty well, so I'm going to try tossing some more batteries at the one that's attacking Henry.
Oh, lucky batteries, am I right?
I know, right? All power corrupts, but we need the electricity.
All right, roll for it.
6. I like these dice.
I'm doing well today. This is so much better than last time.
I know.
Your battery launching has an effect. I'm trying to avoid the word tossing after that comment from Henry.
Come on.
If nothing else, this episode is teaching me to choose my words more carefully. Astrakhan, you still got a second action if you'd like to attack or run or do something else?
So the golems have basically destroyed the filing cabinet, and they're both...
So they seem to have destroyed whatever was inside it to the level they were programmed to have done.
I really want to know what that was now. But there's still 2 golems in the room, which seems dangerous. I'm going to send Darling to sneak around the side of the lab, being as sneaky as she can be, and have a look at the filing cabinet and try to see what was inside it that they've destroyed and how destroyed it is.
Cool. So Darling as a spider bot can basically climb along the roof. I'll get you to give it a 2d6 roll to make it that far without getting intercepted by the one in the doorway and in front of Henry.
All right. So Darling, who apparently I chose all the best traits, Darling is also sneaky, so gain advantage when testing to hide or sneak around without others noticing you.
Oh, I'm starting to regret this bot already, but yes. it will eventually do something without advantage. You know that, right?
It will. But, the great thing is, the whole point of Darling was that she's no good at combat. She's just good at everything else.
I'm imagining this point where we're all TPK'd and then the invincible spider is the only recurring character.
Yeah. So that's a 1, a 4, and a 5. So I think that is a success.
It is absolutely success. So you managed to. So it comes through. It uses its little recording eye to pick up what's inside. It comes back that it doesn't really recognize what's there, but you can replay it kind of looks for a gap and has some information on what was in there.
All right. Cool.
That's your turn. So Neely, you're up.
Okay, so sorry, there's a golem still standing near Henry and I.
Yeah, so one of the golems that was smashing the filing cabinet has finished and started attacking Henry. There's another one that was paralyzed, but it's managed to remove the knife that was paralyzing it and is about to run over and start beating on him too.
Okay, so I'm going to go for the one that's near Henry. Again, I'll try and freeze its joints. Can he crit fail? I just rolled 2 1s.
I think you can, actually.
Yes, you can. It's an option rule, but given I just gave Henry a critical success, I've got to invoke a critical failure.
No.
So not only do you fail to freeze this creature, it basically you lose the ability for the rest of this fight to use your spell touched. As you kind of overload yourself and effectively freeze yourself up.
Dang it.
Out
So
of
you
curiosity.
Still another action.
So you still got another action, so you can spend that to try and leap over Henry and this thing to get behind it.
Yeah. Can I do it a bit like a leapfrog? So like I just kind of put both hands on Henry's shoulders and vault over him.
Only if it's on top of his head and not his shoulders.
Okay, I'll put it on top.
Because that's the height that he would be at for you.
Okay, yeah. All right, I shall do thus. And this is not with advantage, right? So I just get 2 or
this would be 2d6 to kind of land with any kind of grace.
Okay, 6 and 3.
Nice. So yeah, you absolutely leapfrog over his head and land behind him. Basically, it does unfortunately mean you're surrounded by golems, but one's more interested in Henry, so it's unlikely that you're going to get surrounded.
Yeah, I'd rather they're attacking me than Henry anyway.
Fair enough. Henry, you're up.
Henry looks his amazement as Neely does a free willy jump over his face into a giant boot print across his face now. Just wow, cool. I'll have Henry take a swing again at this one that's threatening him.
Yep, go for it.
A 6 and a 1. Doing well, Henry. Loving
Connects.
And as per the norm, I will take the evade action.
Frankly, it's not Sergio at all this time because my guys aren't even rolling 5s, let alone 6s. But that's okay. So that's your turn. The one in front of you is going to swing twice. As per its programming, connects once. So give me an evade roll. Finally, your evasion action comes in.
I know. I shall use it. 2 2s failed.
All right. So you take 1 point of damage. Finally.
Oh.
But you get to retaliate on its second attack as it rolls a 2 and a 1.
I shall do just that. And crit fail.
Oh no.
2 1s.
Right.
What's going on?
So here's what happens there. So basically, it tries to hit you with its sword. You spin around and try and hit it on the backhand. You miss, and so it does the same thing and similarly spins around, but without moving its feet, like its waist spins around and catches you on the third attack in this one single action.
God damn. So I take another point of damage.
You take an extra point of damage. Neely, there's the one behind closest to you comes up to you and will tries to get you.
Mhm.
It critical fails
Yes.
because that's my life at tonight. Apparently, I'm gonna say with that one, I'm gonna put it out of its misery. It's been paralyzed. It just wrote a crit fail. It reaches for you, and then it's so old it falls in. It basically cracks in half and falls over. No longer a threat. With the one remaining one, Astrakhan, would you like to finish it off?
Yes, I would.
Go for it.
I'm gonna go for another battery throw.
All right, roll to battery.
Battery.
Oh my god, we haven't made an assault and battery joke yet.
Oh, Henry
Well,
breaks out the salt.
This may count. 4 and a 5.
So connects, absolutely. It's on its last legs, so you could go again.
More salt in these
More
batteries.
batteries.
A 1 and a 6.
You finish it off, it collapses in pieces.
Excellent. Right. Now, darling, what was that you were saying?
Well, you can go over to the filing cabinet if you like. There's nothing between you and it.
I will.
All
But
right.
I also wanted to know if the spider had any insight.
So when you get to the filing cabinet, it's cracked open. You can kind of like, between the three of you, you can pull it open. What you find inside is basically clay tablets that have been smashed to pieces. So what confused Darling was it basically looked like there was a bunch of sand in there. Didn't realize that there were whole pieces as well. When you look at them, basically it's fragments of some form of dwarven documentation of what they were working on here. But given that it's been broken up, and parts of it literally to dust, it's unlikely to provide any information to you. It looks like this is a last-ditch effort to make sure nobody unauthorized managed to get this information.
That's a shame.
Henry will pull himself up on the ground because if he does only have 3 health, he's on 1. If he has 4 health, and more than that, he's on higher. But I just imagine he's just got this big swollen black eye. And like, here we go.
I think it's time to get back to the ship.
Yeah, we did it.
Let's just
It's
poke
blood.
our heads into the room on the left and see what's in there.
Yeah, that's what you said about this room, Astrakhan.
This was the door of the load.
All right, so you guys head to the next room? Or do you,
Henry,
choose to retreat?
can we call Mr. Whitmer, please?
Okay, I'm just going to put my arm around Henry's shoulder and stooping low so I don't get decapitated by any wires. Start heading back. Astrakhan, we need you. We don't have any more time.
All right. I'm gonna just open the door and look just really quickly.
Beautiful. Just out of curiosity, because I like tension, when you open doorways, do you twist the handle left or right?
Oh. Well, Astrakhan is mostly right-handed, although ambidextrous for using tools to make golems. So I twist the handle right.
There is an extra click as you turn the handle.
Uh-oh.
But when you open the door, nothing happens. But you see there's some kind of flexible joint attached to the door and leading up to the roof. It appears that left would have been the wrong way to go.
Huh. Interesting.
Inside the room.
And now every door I open for the rest of time, I'm going to turn it to the right.
This room appears to be some form of sleeping quarters. So it's very Spartan, very sparse. So there's 2 bed frames. The mattresses have melted away at this point. There's a couple of chests, but they've seem to have fallen into disrepair as well and collapsing on each other. You can try and search more, but your friends are currently about to walk out the front door.
Astrakhan.
All right. All right. I go and trot after them. I'm
Mr.
going to
Whitler,
keep an eye out for anything that I can pick up on the way.
at this point, you start seeing that while the mist on the outside is starting as kind of keeping its distance, and they have some time. You do notice that there's like a cloud drifting, a rogue cloud, effectively starting to drift between you and them. If you could make me a piloting roll to try and get up and over this in time before they walk into it.
2 dice.
Yes,
One
2
die.
dice for you. You lack the expertise, but you have the ability.
I got a 4 and a 6.
Nice.
I
So you
thought you
notice
rolled
this
a
cloud.
2. 2?
No, sorry.
Oh, yeah.
So basically, it's a small cloud. Basically, using the shining beetle's wings, you manage to push the cloud far enough away that it doesn't cover the door, and your compatriots are able to get in without causing any issues.
We do a rolling pickup, you know. I saw the cloud coming out towards us. I've rolled up the anchor already. I've rolled the ramp so they can jump on as the ship is still moving.
Do we need
rolling
laser
it past.
swords as we jump onto the ship with its ramp open?
We can't
You can't throw me. I can't leap that high.
Astrakhan's a gnome. I'll throw you.
I did mean nearly. I'm just.
You're quite a
losing his
portly
mind.
young halfling, but I do manage to get you on, I hope.
Yes.
So I think the moment that I'm on the ship, I'll just sort of stand anxiously next to Mr. Whitler, who's steering the ship, and sort of gently slide him across.
take the helm. I'll go get some more speed. So like I'm
Yes,
Mr. Whitler's happy to pass off the helm.
So
Like,
some people
as soon as Neely is on board.
Yes, yes. Okay, great.
So Neely, with your practice die, you reckon you only had about a half hour left on the site before the cloud sort of started coming over it again. So
Okay.
you're dead on the money with the 3-hour window.
Yeah, that's our roll.
It's all that practice. You're just that good.
Also, because she rolls 20 dice at once.
They're all fails, all 20 of them.
Take the average.
Now,
So what was the thing that I picked up from the table?
I was about to ask you if you could give me effectively a Golemancer roll, as it appears to be something that can be attached to things, to golems.
Nice.
You might be able to work that out.
All right.
So give me 3d6, given your expertise in that matter.
What's a coffee replacement part for Spider?
I got 5.
Nice. So what you realize very quickly, it's too large to be attached to Darling, but it appears to be some form of Tesla coil. It's a lightning gun. With some time and ability to work outside of the ship, there's a chance you could attach it to Shining Beetle.
Ooh,
Damn.
shiny beetle with a sting.
Yeah. Can you attach it to its bottom? Sorry, its
I think
abdomen.
it might be less useful that way, but yeah, I probably could.
Have much more flex.
Well, depends if you're running away from something while shooting at it.
Yeah.
True.
I mean, just attach it to a turret. We'll be fine. Shoot in all directions.
Excellent.
So many options.
So at this point, we're going to fast forward a little bit. There'll be a moment of fast travel as you guys leave this Dwarven ruins. Over the next few days, you guys continue on towards the capital, towards Bastion. I'm going to ask each of you basically randomly about events that happened on this time to fill that couple of week long gap. Astrakhan, at what terrible mistake almost cost the ship in the next 2 weeks that you made?
So when we stop and camp for the night one evening, I determined that now is the right time to start attaching the lightning gun to the shiny beetle. I don't check with Neely before I start. And unfortunately, half attaching the lightning gun to the shiny beetle isn't really a great time to have to leave suddenly when a beast that none of us have run into before runs out of the woods or shrubbery on our little island, and we have to leave very quickly. So I almost cause us to crash because I've thrown off the balance of the ship completely without telling Neely about it in advance.
Excellent. Neely, what punishment did you either secretly or otherwise inflict on Astrakhan for messing with your ship?
I'm sorry, Neely.
Punishment for Astrakhan is that they have to give me, by the time we get to the capital, I expect the ship to be at least 20% faster. And if they can't meet that target, then there'll be a further punishment.
Very well.
It also keeps Astrakhan very busy and out of my hair for the entire trip.
Excellent. So one way you could do an Astrakhan is toss one of the other players out. But I'm not going to offer that as an option. We'll work that out later. Henry, at one point, you managed to find some amazing exotic ingredient that pairs amazingly with some of the ingredients you guys have collected so far. What is the perfect meal that you cook with this, and what was the ingredient?
I think the ingredient was some excrement that comes from the beast that was chasing the ship down when we were taking off. And so Henry was out thinking, I'll find some herbs. And he found this really unique smelling thing. Turns out to be some kind of beast excrement, but it's fantastically flavored. It tastes like rainbows. And as such, he cooks up the squid eggs with this rainbow flavor, and it's a party in your mouth. But Henry doesn't tell them what the secret ingredient is.
Given that there's a creature called a luwak who everyone eats it eats coffee beans, and people then use the coffee beans that it leaves behind.
The Lupikoa.
All right, and finally, Mr. Whitber, it probably becomes more obvious as you guys get closer to the capital, but how are you trying to slow down everyone reaching the capital subtly?
Oh well, it's dangerous out here in the open over the open mist, and every time we get a chance to stop it, we should take it. You don't want to risk it, especially in a small ship like this. It's not like the big one we're used to. So you don't want to risk pushing your luck at the end of the day. Any chance you get, we should stop. We should take our time. This place that we stopped at needs someone to go take mail, not directly on the path that we're going, but we should take it anyway. Get some extra money.
Henry
Excellent.
backs you wholeheartely, but only because those extra stops are usually in villages with extra comfortable hotels.
Yeah, for sure.
Checkouts at 10. We got to use the whole time, guys.
Make the most of your money.
You don't want to get. No point rushing to the bastion. It's going to be there the whole time. It's not like one of the moving cities that they have out east.
Out of character.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Whipper's trying to slow us down. That's what's happening here.
No. I'm just trying to make sure that we're safe.
He's just cautious, is what he is.
Apparently so.
But all might be revealed as you reach the city. Its full name is the Bastion of Glacier, but most people refer to it simply as the Bastion. It's the Mount Everest of this world. It was the tallest mountain, it still is effectively, but every millimeter of it is covered in residences. There's probably several thousand people now living on this mountaintop, and as you guys fly up, you can see new construction skirting the very top of the mist, and potentially very dangerous. As you guys fly over the top, you see small gardens and small amounts of livestock, chickens, things that you can fit in the backyard. but not much else in the way of farmland or anything like that. You guys know from having been here before, this town is completely reliant on the Oracle class ships delivering food and other supplies. And in fact, there's one currently docked at the docks. You can't miss it. You're not sure which one it is though. You land. You guys are given your own security passes for the Shining Beetle, and you walk out, and straight away you see what looks like the entrance to a very large bakery. And it looks like at first glance that there's a massive signage. On one side, it looks like an extremely oddly drawn dragon. It looks like the badly taxidermed otter of dragons. It's just badly stretched out. Its wings are not in proportion to what you expect any wings to be made. It's holding donuts, and it looks like it's trying to breathe fire as though it's breathing fire on it. It is the name of the place known as Skitsbro's Goblin Bakery and Confectionery, purveyors of finest breads, cakes, tarts, and sweets. None of this is what gives you pause. What gives you pause is the second figure on the sign, which looks like Mr. Whitbear, but slightly fatter, slightly younger. Very quickly, I imagine, Mr. Whitbear, the second you realize you guys have noticed this, you grab it and say, "This way, guys," and drag them away.
Yeah. Yeah, we should get to taking that mail. Those towns.
Henry looks at the figurine of the imagery that looks just like Mr. Whitbear and thinks to himself, am I racist, or do they all look the same?
I wasn't going to bring that up, but yes.
Henry doesn't.
There's a bit of that.
He quickly scurries after Mr. Whitbear.
So Neely obviously has noticed Mr. Whitbear delaying their arrival at Bastion, and like many, has puzzled for like a decade or more over Mr. Whitbear's mysterious past, and makes a note to perhaps get Mr. Whitbear drunk at some point and pump him for information about this mysterious sign.
Well, you can certainly try it. Every other time someone's tried that is they've ended up on it before.
Yeah.
So you guys managed to find an inn. You deliver the post. You managed to, given that you guys have made a few stops along this point, you've managed to reach 160 gold, 40 gold each between you. You also get to level up. So Tiny Dungeon doesn't have an official leveling up mechanics. It's got a few suggested ones. For you guys, it means that you guys get to pick a new trait.
Awesome.
Ooh.
So I'll let you guys have a think about that, and we'll talk about that off mic if you guys want to make any specific choices.
I think there's that trait that's just godlike ability. I think if I'll take that one, any objections, you guys let me know.
Yeah.
While I convince Daniel of that, thanks everyone for listening. Appreciate it.
I'm going to give you guys another epilogue.
Ooh,
similar
fancy.
to what we did last time.
Nice.
So somewhere else far away, there is a little figure desperately trying to avoid spider webs as they climb up and over crates that have spread throughout. In another place, somewhere else, a blue figure is inside a tent and trying to make a decision about when to reach out to you guys. And elsewhere, there's a group worshipping at the altar of a dragon. And we'll
There's so much going on that we don't know about.
I know. I can't wait.
Also, I have this really guilty feeling like maybe we should have discovered somebody in that ruin who was alive and
We'll never know. We'll never know.
They wanted to be rescued. They could have come outside at any point.
I want to know what's going on with you, Mr. Whitbear, and your mysterious past.
mysterious mystery.
Well, At this point, I do also want to echo Lucky/Henry Goodbarrow's sentiment. Thank you so much for listening. This is a story I've been wanting to tell for ages, and I can't believe I'm getting a chance to do it with you guys who are such excellent role players. And hopefully we'll see you in 2 weeks' time.
Pleasure.
Awesome.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
It's been brilliant.
See ya.